you kind of living a game, like you playing with your life. It's like you living this fast life, and it's like whoever get caught, they get caught. If you get caught, you get killed. If they get caught, they get killed. You get caught, you get shot. They get caught, they get shot. It's like a, I don't know. It's like it's just senseless. It's just you just living this life just to live this life. You know how they say that people, some people say, or they be dying to live. In that street life is like you living it out.
Now, this parole hearing, it hits differently for me. It's a parole hearing out of the state of Minnesota for what I see as a hardened, institutionalized, maybe gang banger. At least he was at the time of the crime. He killed a 13-year-old in a drive-by shooting when he himself was just 16. And then while in prison, he's got a bad record, but because of new legislation, new laws, he has an opportunity for parole. And what's interesting about this hearing is that this institutionalized man with the loaded jacket, new felonies in prison, he sits here and meets the parole board that seems to try to talk to him, to motivate him, to inspire him to do better. And he just looks back with a certain look like, guys, you just don't get it. But hey, let's watch this parole hearing and I'll unpack it at the end.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Andrew Carlson. I am the Assistant Director of the Hearings and Release Unit. We are here today to review Mr. Don Quarius Copeland, who is present and participating from the correctional facility at Oak Park Heights via video. Here with me at the Minnesota Department of Corrections Central Office is Commissioner Schnell. He's also the Chair of the Supervised Release Board, along with members Cheryl Ramstead. Christine Bray is going to be with us momentarily. Member Joe Earhart is present, and also member Andrew Larson is participating by video. Juvenile experts Jody Nelson and Donald Strufert are here at central office as well. Our records indicate that on or about August 24th, 2011 in Minneapolis, Hennepin County, Minnesota, Don Quarius Copeland, acting alone or intentionally aiding, advising, hiring, counseling, or conspiring with others while using a firearm, caused the death of Ray John Gomez, a juvenile male, with premeditation and with intent to effect the death of that person. On March 25th, 2014, the Hennepin County District Court committed Mr. Copeland to the Commissioner of Corrections for 410 months for second-degree murder. Mr. Copeland was 16 years of age when he committed this offense. Mr. Copeland has served approximately 13 years of incarceration, and today's review is his first review by the board. His original confinement release date was set for June 12, 2035, but given recent changes to the legislature regarding juvenile cases, Mr. Copeland will be eligible for release after serving 15 years of incarceration, which will occur on March 24th, 2027. Thank you. I turn this matter over to the board.
Good afternoon, Mr. Copeland. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'd like to start out by asking you to talk a little bit about what it is you'd like to see happen as a result of today's meeting.
When this opportunity really came out left field for me, so it's still new to me. It's still really resonating and setting me in. So I'm just looking forward to learning whatever I can and whatever gonna happen today.
Okay, why don't might be helpful is if you could just summarize a little bit what you wrote in your letter to the board. That might be a good starting point.
It's like I just explained, my mind frame when I came into prison, and over the time, the reasons why I've did my time the way I have and the struggles I have and everything I went through. Like, I came in young. I felt like I ain't had no future, so I felt like I was gonna do whatever I wanted, and I continue to do it.
continue to do?
Basically, living my life, like, doing whatever I want to do since I've been in jail. Didn't care about going to segregation and things like that. So basically just breaking the rules.
Is that, has that changed at all since you came to the realization that there is an opportunity to be released?
I mean, really, it just really settled in maybe a couple months ago. No, I still struggle. I'm not gonna say I just turned over a new leaf is automatically once I heard it. I still struggle and it's an ongoing change.
All right. What do you think it would take for you to kind of turn this train around?
It will take just having the will to do what you need to do. Like there's your whole life in front of you. So it'd be for me, basically, it really ain't too much for me is to rein in my behavior and really just lock in and do what I'm supposed to.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about who was impacted by your involvement in this offense?
I mean, Ray John Gomez, ultimately, his parents, his family, me, myself, my parents, my family, the immediate people in the situation, but not only them, it got an outgoing effect because it didn't just affect me and Ray John or anybody else that was there then. In the whole, it affected everybody on both sides, family. So it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain.
So can you talk a little bit about like what motivated this offense?
Gang banging. When we was all young, gang banging, we was doing what gang bangers do, looking for our rivals, or looking for confrontation, just trying to basically get back as much as we can, going back and forth at each other.
And in retrospect, did that serve any real benefit or advantage?
Everybody lost. Nobody benefited.
And when did you come to that realization that nobody benefited?
It took years to really break that thinking of, gang banging. When you lose a lot of friends and a lot of stuff been done, and you done did a lot of stuff to people, it kind of locked your mind into this mind state to where that's just what it is. Like you got a gang banging mind state. But once you grow, you get older, even though your behavior might not change, your thinking will change even a little bit to where, you can start seeing everything as a whole and how everything reflected and everything impacted you. And you get to see like everything really was for nothing. Because we started off as kids that's, claiming a block that none of us don't own, block that's still there right now, while all of us gone. Those all different reasons.
So you you recognize that, and you could see that, but is it fair to say that some of your prison misconduct has been really grounded in some of the same kinds of issues, gangbanging and that kind of stuff?
I think a lot of it, yeah. At least in the beginning, but not really now since I'm older. Or it's a lot
Okay.
younger. It's a lot
So
younger.
what has jammed you up more recently then, if it isn't that stuff? What has been the issue more recently?
antagonizing staff, having confrontations with staff, assaults on staff. That's really my anger.
Okay. Can you just say, describe or tell us, was Rajon Gomez the intended victim or target?
Yes,
Why?
I guess him and Derek, my co-defendant. I guess they had a confrontation in the juvenile center. So when we went to where we went that night, we seen him, and Derek wanted to shoot at him. So we shot at him. And he
Okay,
ended up,
so they were on a bike, right?
yes,
And was he a passenger on the bike or was he
I think
driving
he
it?
was. I think he was on the back of the bike getting bucked.
Okay,
They call it bucking when you ride on the pegs, and the other
Okay.
person control the bike.
okay. And you and your co-defendants were in a car?
Yes.
So what happened?
Well, initially when we went down there, we thought we seen somebody else. So when we got out the car, going to go shoot at that person, and we got into the alley, we seen Rajon and his friends riding on his bike. And Derek, my co-defendant, said, "There go Rajon." Even though it's two Rajons, even though I thought he was talking about somebody else, it still ended up being one of them from that neighborhood. And Derek asked me, "Should I shoot?" And I told him, "Yeah." And when he shot, somebody else shot, and I took the gun from him, and I shot back, but Rajon didn't have no gun.
So it wasn't Rajon and whoever he was with that shot, it was somebody else, you're saying?
Yeah, some shots came from somewhere else.
Did you shoot Rajon?
Yes.
Using the kind of your sense of like imagination, can you describe what you think the loss was like for his family?
I know it was devastating because it would have been devastating for my family. You know, his parent is losing a life that she watched bring into the world, that she carried into the world, and not only affected his parents, but his loved ones, his brothers and sisters if he had them, his uncles and aunties, his cousins he grew up with. You know, it impacted their whole family. So I can only imagine how that would feel like. I couldn't even say I could start to understand it.
And I get that, you know, as you look back now with your 30-year-old eyes versus at the time your 16, almost 17-year-old eyes, and you think about the issue around the fact that there was a dispute reportedly between Rajon and your co-defendant, and the issue of just firing a shot because there was some dispute that happened sometime prior between them. As you look back now as an adult, how do you characterize or how do you make sense of what happened?
And senselessness. You know, people just young, you don't really think about when you're young and in the streets, you don't really think about the value of life or the impact of your actions that's going to impact everybody else. You know, it's like you kind of living a game, like you playing with your life. It's like you living this fast life, and it's like whoever get caught, they get caught. If you get caught, you get killed. If they get caught, they get killed. You get caught, you get shot. They get caught, they get shot. It's like a, I don't know, it's just senseless. It's just you just living this life just to live this life. You know how they say that some people say, or they be dying to live. In that street life is like you living to die. You're not even caring about nothing else. You're waking up every day with the intentions to be shot at and to be shooting at people, to be hanging on your block, to be drugged up. You know, you're just living a reckless lifestyle.
Which it sounds like you're acknowledging as you think back, is senseless, crazy, right? Just that living like that. And yet at the time it made sense. That is what I'm kind of hearing, right?
Yes. As crazy as that sounds.
No, it context matters, and I hear that. I guess one of the things that I'm really struggling with, and I'm wondering about, is what you think it's going to take truly for you. You know, you talked about the fact that you're beginning to think differently about what's happening and what the possibilities are with your life. But I'm wondering what you think are the steps or the things that need to happen in order for behavior to follow that, and so that there's a different kind of conversation with the board, and I think a level of confidence even in you around what the future could look like. Do you have a sense?
I gotta learn how to stop sabotaging myself. I'm literally like my worst enemy to myself. I sabotage myself in a lot of situations because certain situations don't even have to end up the way they end, but me having this careless mind state of, oh, I'm in prison, I got 30 some years to do, there's nothing you can do to me, and I don't have nothing to lose. It fuels me to this angry behavior to where I just don't care. So I antagonize, I react to the smallest situations in the biggest way. I sabotage my own self.
Have you met in the course of the time that you've been incarcerated, I would imagine, but I want to ask, have you met people who have been incarcerated for long periods of time and appear, by your estimation, to have made significant change in their life?
Yes, multiple people.
Have you ever asked them about what it was that helped them to make that shift or avoid self-sabotage?
It was just being tired, doing the same thing and not benefit. You doing the same thing and you only hurting yourself on. But they always tell me like, you always being like this when you don't even have to be like this. And they just tell me like, you're gonna have to change that because in order for you to succeed in the community, you can't go out there thinking the same way you think in here. This is not gonna work. You know, they just told me that they start, taking programs, reading books, trying to better understand themselves.
Do you think you could do that?
I mean, I read a lot already, so I read a
Yeah.
lot of like philosophy and all type of mind challenging books. All it is me applying myself, really. I don't apply myself. That's why I say self-sabotaging because I can do whatever I put my mind to. And I'm not just saying that in the sense of that's what people say, like that's something I know about me. If I choose to do something, I can do.
Okay. All right. I'm going to open it up to other members of the board to ask whatever questions they may have.
Mr. Copeland, I have a couple of questions. You said that you're no longer involved with activity with the gang, something of that nature. Do you still have any involvement with gangs and gang members in prison?
I got all my friends is gang members. Everybody I grew up around that's here is gang members. Even though I don't actively gang bang, I hang around the people I grew up with.
Do you intend to continue doing that?
I mean, yes, because them the people I grew up with. I'm not jumping in fights or wilding out with them or getting into it with rivals with them or nothing, but them the people I talk to. We in this environment. We come from the same area, the same blocks. We grew up together since kids. So it's natural that we gonna congregate towards each other.
What do you intend to do? Are you going to change anything starting today?
I have to if I want to succeed and if I want to see an opportunity of being released. I got been working with my case manager, doing everything I can to help myself. I'll be experiencing setbacks because, like I said, I be into this careless mindset, this self-sabotage. But I can say she try to help me as much as she can. So I'm on step down management right now. I'm working. I'm just trying to get into that mode of grinding and doing what I need to do.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Reading your material, the one spark that attracted me, you used the word hope. Recall that at all?
You say it again?
You used the word hope and referred to this. I got the impression the first hope you received, maybe in your entire life, was the opportunity to get released at an earlier date.
I mean, absolutely. When you lived your whole life in the system, you grew up in the system from juvenile to adulthood, and you hear this news that you got a chance to where you can get back out and do something over. Like it give you this feeling of disbelief, like you don't believe it's true. And that's why it took me so long for it to register because I didn't know if this was just something that always gonna happen. And then a year or two down the line, everything gonna change. So I didn't want to get my faith up and my hope up and dive into this and then be devastated in the end.
So I'm understanding hope is something that it's associated with you're wanting to change and you're being on a change track.
Yes.
I believe I want to hope with you, and I believe that's the function of this board. Can we do that together?
Yes.
Anybody else offer you that opportunity to do it together?
Yes.
Who?
My case
Where?
manager. My case
What?
manager. My case manager.
How did that happen? What happened between you and the case manager that gives you hope?
I don't know. I wish you could ask her. I think she just probably
Say again?
I think she probably just seen something in me. I think she probably just seen through the BS I put up as this shield.
Okay, but she sees it from the outside and you don't see it on the inside yet.
Yes.
Okay, I think hope has a lot to do with what I can do and what we can do together. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
And you've been doing it all by yourself for an awful long time.
Yes.
Possibly changing.
Yes.
Or the challenge that we have is how can that change happen in the Department of Corrections?
By putting the work in.
Again?
By putting the work in and doing what I need to do to be a better me, to better myself.
I would say by doing what you need to do, but who determines what you need to do? You or somebody else?
I do.
All by yourself, all alone?
I wouldn't say all alone because somebody got to point me to the right direction, on the right course.
Who's
Then
available to help you do that? Who's going to do that with you?
my case man.
Okay, so we got a little spark of hope, and we got one other person that may join you on this travel or this voyage, this trip.
Yes.
I want you to have more than that.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with this case. It does not make sense.
I don't really understand.
Beg pardon?
I said I don't really understand the point you're trying to make.
I want to share hope with you, and I'm getting the message you don't understand how hope can be shared.
I mean, I understand how hope can be shared because it's somebody supporting you with their hope too, that you can do better for yourself.
With that support, we can do better for ourselves and others.
Yes.
Okay? Do you believe you can do help for others?
Yes.
How? Where? Or where's that possible for you? I want you to have that. Where is it going to happen?
It can start in here by sharing
Say
my
again?
story. It can start in here by sharing my story, sharing my struggles, trying to help the younger guys that come through not be the same as me.
So sharing your stories are going to help people avoid some of the stuff you've been in and some of the stuff you feel guilty about,
Yes.
you're ashamed of.
Yes.
There's the tough part of hope many times. I got to hope when there's a lot of shame and there's a lot of sense of guilt. Sounds like you're on that track.
Yes.
So I'm seeing these changes that hope might be with. Hope involves not only what I do, but what I do with others. Okay?
Yes.
Hope comes along when I feel like I belong somewhere. I'm not sure if that's available to you right now.
No.
I hope that comes. Or I hope we can find some paths where you can belong. Sounds like one chance you're looking for is sharing your story with younger kids.
Yes.
You don't know if you belong there yet, but it's a possibility.
I know I should share my story.
Beg pardon?
I said I know I should share my story.
Yes, I agree. But you don't know if anybody else is going to listen at this point.
Yes.
Okay, that's to come. Final thing, I think hope has a lot to do with an identification or an ID. All right. You've convinced me in your writing that your idea is to be a bad guy,
Yes.
or that's you've lived that way for a long time.
Yes.
You hope you can change to be helping, not just a bad guy, but a helper for somebody else.
Yes.
I agree. I think you can do that. I think I can help. I think we can help. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Well, I have almost more of a comment, Mr. Copeland. I was disappointed in your letter to the board. It seemed honest and sincere from your point of view. It was a 5.5-page letter, and it wasn't until page 3 that you wrote, "I take full responsibility and full accountability for my actions and my behavior, and there's no excuse for it, and I'll never try to offer one." But then you went right back to talking about your struggles and yourself. I'd like to see you work your way out of Oak Park Heights so that you can take classes and get some mentoring yourself on how to change your thinking. Because I think until you change your thinking, your behavior, it's going to be tough for you to change your behavior. It's just a comment.
Mr. Copeland, my background's in education and mental health.
Jody,
Oh,
or
sorry.
just have you pull the mic closer.
Is that better?
Yeah, just, I would pull it right up to
Okay.
in front of you there. And
Excuse me, Mr. Copeland. My background's is in education and mental health, and my read of your story is that you faced a lot of challenges and barriers, not of your own making, from a very early age, and had challenges in school, had many out-of-home placements, lots of challenges and barriers before you were incarcerated. So this has been, lifelong issues that you need to unpack, I think. I hope in the time that you have left incarcerated that you would pay a lot of attention to education, your opportunities for education and your opportunities for mental health support. You've talked about being angry. One of the things that I've heard said that I think is true is that anger is the bodyguard of sadness. And as I read your story, I think there's a lot of sadness that's at the root of your anger. So I think in the time that you have to work on yourself, I'd pay attention to education, continue learning, and get some mental health supports to work through some of that sadness.
any other questions?
Mr. Copeland, I did have a couple of questions and comments. Similar to what some of the other members have shared, I think what I hear is, I think you're reaching the point of being sick and tired of this, and I think that is progress. I think that's where you need to go. I hear someone who wants to change and doesn't know how. I sincerely, I hear that. I'm wondering, the board can certainly give, kind of directions and ideas and those sorts of things, but I'm wondering from your perspective, are there some specific concrete things that you think you can do over the course of, like a short-term goal, just to kind of really get yourself going and kind of get you moving in that right direction? I mean, is there something that you've thought of that you'd really like to accomplish?
I think I just want to, learn as much as I can, do as much programs as I can.
Like, is there a specific like, I want to get more specific even. I don't want to speak in generalities. Like, is there a specific program that you think is of interest that might be of benefit to you?
I want to learn how to be a barber.
Okay. All right. And is that something that you think you could potentially set as a goal for yourself? And what I'm really trying to do is, like, get you to start thinking like you've got an out date. I mean, the potential is there for the out date to come sooner. So I appreciate what you said at the start, where when you came in, you were 17, 18 years old, a 30 or a 420 month sentence or whatever it was, seems like a lifetime. I think you now recognize it's not. You have an out date. I really hope that you start forming some goals for yourself, start moving past some of this really self-destructive behavior, using your own words, which I agree. I think it is self-destructive. So start really setting some goals for yourself and start moving in that direction. Like I said, I hear it, and I think you can do it. And I, similar to what some of the other board members have said, like, I want to see you be successful. I do. But it's going to take work. It is.
Mr. Copeland, I'm a little concerned about your attitude about maintaining your gang identification, and some comments you made that were reported in the comprehensive risk assessment just a month ago about thinking carrying a gun is justified, and that you're from a gang community and people know you as a gang member and identify you as such. And basically, it sounds like you'd have difficulty shedding that identification and your friends, and believe carrying a gun just goes along with that. Can you tell me what that's all about?
It's like, when I said it, I was trying to explain, like, sometimes the stuff you do in the past, it don't go away. So if I harm somebody, there's always going to be somebody who wants to retaliate. There's always going to be somebody who's hurt by what I did, or it's somebody I hurt, or somebody hurt somebody that I love, that I'm gonna always be hurt by what they did. So in that sense, when you're in the same environment, some people have to carry a gun for protection. I wasn't necessarily saying that's what I want to do or that's what I need to do, but that's just some of the facts of reality.
But the point I'm trying to make is it seems that you really identify with being part of that culture, that you come from a gang culture, that your friends in prison are from gangs. And what I'm hearing isn't that you want to change that, but that you accept that as who you are and who people know you are. And that concerns me with respect to your ability to get out of this vicious cycle you're in, where you've spent half of your time in SEG and have done some pretty horrific things and haven't been able to hold down employment. And it's kind of like being in a maze. I just would ask you to think about the underlying mindset that you have about that gang identification, people knowing you're in a gang, you're going to maintain it, you've got friends in it, and really think about what purpose that has served you in the past and whether that's part of the future that you want to have to make a better life for yourself, okay?
Can I say something?
Certainly.
I don't maintain a gang identification. That's just where I'm from. That's just what I come from. But that don't mean that's me. I don't walk around here actively gang. I don't walk around here throwing up gang signs. I don't walk around here getting in gang politics or none of that. That's not what I do.
I understand that you're not active in the gang, not actively participating, but it sounds like to me like you still identify with it, and that's what came through in the reports that I read. So that's the point I was trying to make. And I'm just asking you to examine that, because that mindset can lead you to take certain steps and go in certain directions that might not be consistent with changing your future and making it a better future for yourself than your past has been.
Mr. Copeland, just you have some pending cases, correct?
Yes,
In Washington County?
yes,
And those are related to assaults on staff?
yes.
All right, any other questions people have? Mr. Copeland, before the board begins discussion and deliberation about next steps, I want to briefly open the floor to you to provide any final comment to the board before we have discussions about next steps.
I just want to say, I came here and put myself verbally, I'm at a disadvantage, like, due to my past record, my past discipline record. But I just want to let y'all know that, that's me in the past, and that I'm gonna do everything I can to work towards when I come see y'all the next time. I'm gonna be a totally different person.
I think everybody would like to see that. All right, with that, I will close the discussion. During board discussion and deliberation, the board will not entertain questions or allow interruptions. And with that, I would open the discussion to the board.
Question, please. I understand minimum confinement is 2027.
Yeah, that would be his updated eligibility date. And 2035 is his hard out date.
So he will be out in 2035 is what I,
Correct.
Okay.
He will hit a supervised release date in June of 2035.
thank you. Just clarification.
Well, based on what we've heard today, what I hope is that he will, from this day on, and he's been out of SAG, I think, for 198 days, turned around, start doing the required programming. I don't know if we need to specifically recommend that. I read that he's working on his GED, and that's certainly a start, and has had some vocational programming, but that he continue that. The gangs certainly concern me, but that is something that generally happens gradually as people get more and more involved in programming, as opposed to just walking and saying, I'm out. I'm not part of this anymore. So I think the programming in and of itself will help address that, which will always be a problem if he doesn't make the needed changes. So lots of programming needed. Depends on how quickly he can do it.
I'd like to, I'd like to see him work himself out of Oak Park Heights and put a continuance there that isn't so long that he can't see the end of it. So I was thinking more a motion to deny parole, maybe continue for 2 years or maybe 18 months with the goal of work your way out of Oak Park Heights and
I
let's see where
like
you
that
at.
idea,
the
making
next
a
time.
move to a new facility.
I'd second that if it were 2 years.
I'd take that.
And I think that's consistent also with the team, which seemed to think that the goals, including finishing his GED and getting the help that he needs, could all be accomplished within that 2-year period.
Exactly.
And there are quite a few programs available, and he has gotten a start. Would need to work with his case manager to get enrolled in the other programs, and that could keep him very busy for the next 2 years.
I wouldn't want to say, we typically say discipline-free. I would like to not say that.
I'd like
Say
to
it
say
again,
that.
Jody.
I'm saying, I would like to not say that.
Jody, I didn't hear the first part.
We usually say discipline-free. Sorry. We usually say discipline-free. I would like to not say discipline-free. I think we might want to say discipline-reduced.
I would like to say.
I'm just talking here
discipline-free.
now, just a moment.
I'm sorry.
I think what's going to be more important in the next couple of years is the input, is the programming, completing programming, staying in programming. Obviously he can't do programming if he's in segregation. But I also would caution us against expecting a 180-degree turn and look for progress.
I would also like some exploration of what programs are going to help him desist. So the first accomplishment might be stopping A, B, and C, or stopping being a bully, stopping being this hard guy. So I would like, what programs, or are there programs that address the issue of desistance from current, behavior that I would see is inappropriate, self-sabotaging, or desistance from self-sabotaging might be the first one. Looking at what he's ready to address and identifies.
I would just say that probably the best answer to that, and I don't know, Andrew, you can certainly weigh in, but I would say that a cognitive skills program at some level would be a starting point for desistance programming.
And that's what I was going to say. I think one of the programs that they even talked about being available at Oak Park Heights is decision points, and I think that can potentially get at what you're talking about, Don. And so I would agree with that. I think that's going to be really important as part of this growth. And I, on some level, I kind of agree with certainly some of Jody's comments as well. Progress is going to be really important. Perfection towards that, obviously, but definitely want to see some progress. You know, as I had indicated, you know, earlier, I think there is a desire, but you know, he knows the proof's in the pudding. Like now, it's time to show the board that, like, yeah, you can really make the progress you're talking about, and I hope that's the case. So, anyways.
I would just say that I just want to be transparent about where I said, I will not support a 24-month continuance. I don't feel I can, in light of the assaultive behavior directed at DOC staff and the pending criminal cases that exist there. I think there is, I'm not expecting perfection, but the ongoing conduct that's directed at staff, I can't support a 24-month continuance. I think he's going to have to demonstrate, and I understand there's that positive hook of the shorter time of coming back before us and identifying kind of progress in that time. At the same time, there is going to be a level of, there will be reward for changes in behavior. And I think we've heard that from people who came before us, that what they saw what they put out resulted in things coming back to them differently. And I think that would be the case if he demonstrated that. But I can support 24 months. I just want to be clear about that.
Could you share with us what you think might be a more appropriate continuance date?
It's just where I would land would be more, I don't want to make it ungodly long, but I would say a 3-year kind of period of time so that there is the opportunity to, you know, have probably an imperfect bit of demonstration of change. And yet to see the kind of engagement and involvement in programs that he talked about and that he knows, I think, would be beneficial, and I think we all have talked about. That's the concern.
Well, we have a motion and a second, so I guess I propose we take a vote.
Sure.
And then
I
with
fully
your
support that.
comments in mind and see where it goes.
All right, so there is a motion and a second to the motion. Board Member Bray,
Yes.
Board Member Earhart,
I would say yes if we added remain discipline free. I think it's crucial that we have the expectation of being discipline free. I'm not saying it would happen. And with many people, it doesn't. There will be large and small types of discipline, but the expectation is remain discipline free for me. Then I would say yes to the 2 years. If he can do that, if he can work to the extent possible towards finishing as much programming as he can at Oak Park Heights, then I would say yes to that.
so just to be clear, is that included in the motion? And because that would change the
That's-
vote, right? That's the key
No,
question
I
here
guess
is.
I should have presented as a motion because I would go along with that.
So
plus add-
effectively, if deny, you know, that if not remaining discipline free or saying that he must remain discipline free, your vote would be no. I just want to be clear about where you are, where you're at.
And I know you can't put a distinction between refusing to stand for count and assaulting somebody. And I can't say remain serious discipline free, but my expectation would be remain discipline free. And we know that people may still have small incidents of discipline, but my expectation would be remain discipline free. Sometimes you stumble. Your goal is never to stumble, but
So I just wanted to draw the distinction. I think we're including the Jody's kind of reference in here, or is that, I guess we should probably clarify that as a expectation around this so that Joe can make a vote either yea or nay. So I would go back to the motion maker.
Yeah, I would say remain discipline-free.
Okay. And that, who was the second on this? I don't,
I was the second.
Second.
Or
I think,
depending on what you
yeah,
decide.
I would agree.
okay, remain discipline free is in. So then if that were a condition, you would vote yes.
Yes.
Board member Larson,
No.
board member Ramstead,
No.
board member Nelson,
no,
board member Strufert,
I respect discipline-free. I respect safety of of the staff. I'm very impatient to see progress, so I'll say yes.
So it is a 3-3 vote, and Schnell votes no. So the motion as made does not prevail. So is there an alternative?
I would move that we have the same motion, but it be a 3-year continuance and remaining discipline-free.
I think that's a good compromise.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second? Joe, is that a
Seconded.
motion and a second? Okay, to the updated motion, board member Bray,
no,
board member Earhart,
Yes.
board member Larson,
Yes.
board member Ramstead,
Yes.
board member Nelson, board member Strufert,
Yes.
and Schnell votes yes. So the motion as presented prevails with a vote of 5-2. And Mr. Copeland, what this means is that we are denying parole, which is not probably a big surprise. But the question really, I think, was as you heard, the period of one, what we expect. And I think, the expectation is generally that we want you to be discipline free and do well. We recognize that there's a process here. But certainly engaging in the kinds of misconduct that you have, I think clearly would be unacceptable, like violence and those sorts of things. But we recognize that there's going to be some learning that has to happen here. You also heard the range of programs, and I would love to see you get into the barber program at some point in time. I think that it is an incredibly good goal, and people who get through it have generally done well and have had the opportunities to earn a living doing that when they get out. So, but that's going to require you to really dig deep and get in and be positive. And come back here in that 3-year time frame, fully prepared to talk about the tremendous progress that you've made. And I think everybody here, I think, certainly Mr. Strufert, really, I think, dug deep around the whole issue of hope. But I think clearly, I certainly hope that you will do that. And I heard that from several of the other board members as well. So any questions about this?
No.
Okay. Are you, can we look forward to a positive report meeting in 3 years from now?
Yes.
All right. We look forward to that. So thank you, sir. I wish you well.
Best to you.
Okay, so they ended up agreeing on doing a continuance, which means in 3 years, if he comes back with no write-ups or no serious write-ups, that's kind of like in the language, is it the expectation of being write-up free, discipline free, and if he completes programs, then maybe he'll get paroled. In a nutshell, this is, they were kind of arguing whether it would be 2 years or 3 years to receive. He has now in his power, in his willpower, to get released 7 years early in 3 years from now. I think that you might call that a decent deal, right? I think that he should be happy with that opportunity. But do you think that he will do that? I don't know. I hope that we're still covering hearings. I hope the channel's still around in 3 years, and if it is, we will cover this case. It will be in the return of playlist because that's what we do on Mandoo with Lady Holly and Sir Richard spreadsheets. We keep track and follow inmates. And as a matter of fact, we have followed inmates through the process going back 5 years. So it's something that we've done. If you want to check out the return of playlist to see those such hearings, check them out. I have like an echo in my ear. This is part of the problem. Let me see if I can fix this a little bit. Okay, I think it's better. Now, where do we start, really? There's just something funny about this hearing, and let me know your thoughts on the music. It's like, part of doing these parole hearings, what drives me, what a big part of it is the idea that we can watch these cases, document them, and create a sort of library that I think it just hasn't existed until now. Yeah, you would have transcripts, but the idea that we have this footage that we can go back to and then track it down all these years later, I think is invaluable. And I think about it, hey, when I add the music, is it is it kind of like hurting that part? Is it now creating an argument for these parole boards to say, oh, they're just making a mockery of it? We should stop making it available to this law tube community. So let me know your thoughts. I couldn't help it though, because there was just something so, it felt out of touch to me. They're sitting here at this parole board, and it's like, what are you like? This isn't a Hollywood movie. Like, what are you saying? Like, he starts with this motivational speech. You guys know what I'm talking about, the music, right? And it's like, it, it's like, is this a Jordan Peterson podcast? Like, what are we doing here? You're not going to get this man to change his ways because you're going to give us some type of speech about how you're there to help him, because you're not. You're the parole. Are you going to be his mentor? Are you going to go and take calls with him every week and make sure that he's on track? And it just felt like, what are you doing? um I don't know. Some of you might be watching this and say, whatever. People want to be kind. They want to be nice. And it's also interesting, this parole board, Minnesota, this is not a political statement because this channel's politically agnostic. But I feel like I kind of have to bring up some interesting aspects. Um, I went through Grok before look. Minnesota, it has the longest active streak of all 50 states of being Democratic, being 48 years in a row. Grok ranks it out as like number 11 or 12 on the woke meter, which I thought it'd be higher. They put Connecticut higher, New York higher, and they base it off of registered voters, and but what's interesting is the parole board, for the most part, seems to be pretty tough, seems to not, you have a mix with 8 parole board members present. You got to hear all sides, you got to see all perspectives. Um, but it's also interesting that Iowa and Louisiana both have a black board member, but Minnesota, even with all of their board members, I think, are there 11 total, but 8 that showed up today. And um, it's just, I know that we don't, I don't have, it's just surprising. I'm just surprised, I think, um, that they didn't, because they just picked the board. I think last year, it used to be just the chairman and the governor, and they said, you know what, this doesn't really make sense. We should get a board. So they handpicked the whole new board, and this is what you got. So I'm just laying out um, that I noticed that what you want to do with it, do what what you will, but it's not what you'd expect, right, from Minnesota. Um, Now about this, it's so interesting with this parole hearing. In some ways, I felt like the guy was there. What's he supposed to do? He has a parole hearing, and he wasn't trying to sugarcoat anything. He wasn't trying to. Um, it didn't, the letter that they described was disappointing to them. It's funny after the whole like speech about you can do it, I'm here for you. Then right when he was done, the woman came out and she's like, I was really disappointed by your letter where you're not taking accountability, where you waited till a third page and then you went back to blaming. So, it could be just not very articulate. He didn't do it in person, but he did it in a letter. He also, when he given the final chance to make a final statement, he did not apologize to the victim's family. And keep in mind, this murder, it's just one of the most, he's playing it out like it's gang violence, but it's hard to wrap my mind around that. He also insisted that it wasn't mistaken identity, but I've seen in the articles that it was mistaken identity, and that he took a 357 handgun, drove down to a 13-year-old on a bicycle. And there's no other way to explain this, but cowardly shot at a 13-year-old on a bicycle. And you're in prison for that. And now you're Mr. Tough Guy. And it's like, I can't wrap this is something that I have a difficulty with because you're not tough. You're not tough to shoot someone your own age on a bicycle. You're not tough to go and mow an unarmed person down. You're not tough to commit what is really just a cowardly act. And I don't understand why is it, when you get to prison, if you go and you shoot someone, an unarmed man with a gun, they should treat you, they should treat you as lower because it's nothing to be proud of. It's just so pathetic. Throw your whole life away. You have beef with someone, go throw down. Have a fist fight. Kick his butt the normal way. Show him what you got. But oh no, I'm gonna pull out my 357. I'm gonna drive by, shoot this guy on a bicycle, 13-year-old kid. Wow, now I'm a gangbanger. It's like I literally look at him like, you're not like that's so cowardly. It's pathetic. You're little. You're just a little man. And you see it a lot. And he claims in his story, oh, there was gunshots. And now he's been in seg. Can you imagine showing up to parole hearing? He's been out of seg for what? For 198 days. He's been out of seg for 198 days. And what they didn't really even mention is that they have he has right, they mentioned it. He has pending assault charges. And if it goes through the courts, they can add on a whole bunch of years. So he's not going to get out on that time day. We see this in Utah all the time. I mean, it's so common in Utah. It's actually quite interesting because it seems more prevalent in Utah than any other state. But people go into state prison with maybe a 3-year sentence, and they'll be there for 10 years or more because of the assault felony charges they pick up against CO officers. So this case is pending, and if they don't, he might pick up another 5 years for it. So it really depends on how the judge is going to treat it, whether concurrent or consecutive, etc. But it's quite funny to see someone come in Louisiana. It used to be you cannot have a parole hearing if you've had a write-up within 1 year. Then they made it to 2 years, and just recently it's now 3 years. Forget having a pending felony charge for assault against a CO. You can't even have a write-up in Louisiana. But in Minnesota, sure, have a parole hearing. You got a pending felony charge. Don't worry about it. You just got out of SAG 136 days ago, but don't worry about it. Now, to his credit, his speech about uh, what it's like in the streets and gang life and how there's no respect for life and how the quote he uses, um, what was the exact quote? He says some people say that they're dying to live, but in the street life you're living to die. And again, there is a certain straightforwardness out of him that I respected. um it's just different than other hearings that we see. But I let's see what we can go through here. Let's go through the facts of the case that Lady Holly found. And please do tell me if you have a different perspective. We're not an echo chamber in Mandoo. I'm not sense when some of the best comments that I get back are critical feedback, and sometimes it's not even critical feedback. Sometimes it's nasty feedback, but I know that it's true. And I'm okay. I can take that and I can learn from it. Okay? So this is this is the community that we have. We're not an echo chamber. We are allowed to agree to disagree and have different opinions. That is very important to everybody here. So you think I'm wrong, you think I'm off, let me know. And I learn from it. Now let's go. RG was shot and killed with a .357 semi-automatic handgun in Minneapolis on August 24, 2011. It's what appeared to be gang-related retaliation for a shooting several weeks earlier. While conducting an unrelated search approximately 2 days later, Minneapolis police discovered a .357 semi-automatic handgun in a house. The officers informed the Minneapolis Homicide Unit of their discovery, and firearms analysts confirmed that it was a weapon used to kill RG. Appellant Daniquis Copeland said his co-defendant Derek Catchings and another individual were present at the house when the police found the weapon. On September 2, 2011, Copeland was jailed in Anoka County and in an unrelated offense. The records indicate that in September 2011, police interviewed JS, who had been incarcerated with Catchings on a separate charge, and JS indicated that Catchings discussed his involvement in the murder. Then in January 2012, Catchings made partial admission. On March 15th, the grand jury was convened to consider charges against Catchings and any others who were involved in the murder. Later, Copeland made some incriminating statements regarding the murder. The state presented the evidence of the statements along with his testimony, corroborating witnesses. Um, Copeland pled guilty to 1 count of second-degree intentional murder, 1 count of attempted second-degree murder. The district court sentenced Copeland to 410 months for the murder charge, 153 months for the attempted charge, to be served concurrently. The district court also awarded him with jail credit. And then it's because of the new law, so they don't really go into the information. That he has less time because he was under the age of 18, because his original date, we can go to Lady Holly's doc. His original date was 2046. It's my understanding. So it's like she does such a thorough job. Look at this 8-page document, and she brings in everything, right? We have what's 2016 discharge from parole. I don't know what that. So we have all the information here. So in total, yeah, you got 43 years. 43 years. So they say it was a gang-related shooting, another appeal. So he does have appeals. Another article. This did make the news. There are news articles because it was a little boy that was killed riding a bicycle. We can see it here. Let's see how this article paints the picture. The second of 2 teens charged in the shooting of a death of a 13-year-old boy riding his bicycle north of Minneapolis pled guilty to felony murder. Now 19, he agreed to a 30-year, 4-year prison sentence term for killing Rajon Gomez and wounding another boy. They didn't even talk about that he wounded another boy. And think about that, he never mentioned that either. They only mentioned the boy that he killed, but there's another boy that would have had and who knows what that does to, right? I didn't realize he wounded another boy. I knew there was another boy there. As part of the deal, he agreed to 2 new counts of intentional second-degree murder and intentional attempted second-degree murder, which replaced 2 initial counts of first-degree murder. 4 counts of first-degree and attempted murder were dismissed. His plea also included a nearly 13-year sentence for the attempted second-degree murder charge. It'll be served concurrently. Okay, so that's why it's 34 years. Derek Catchings, now 17, pled guilty last February to second-degree murder and attempted second-degree murder for shooting and killing Gomez, received a sentence similar to Copeland's. Gomez and another boy were walking and biking August 24th in an alley near the playground of the Old Willard Elementary School when the shooting occurred. According to court documents, and court Catchings admitted that he and several other young men drove in a van in gang territory searching for a particular person whom they suspected had wounded one of Catchings' friends. As they drove, they spotted a teenager they thought was the person they were looking for walking with Gomez and another friend on bikes. Catching said he jumped out of the van and fired 3 shots at the group before he gave the gun to Copeland, who fired 4 more. Catchings admitted in court that Gomez wasn't who they were looking for with revenge on. Third man has been charged with death. So it's interesting that today he's stating that he was the man the child they were looking for. I mean, 13-year-old, like, what? Wow. I'm gonna think about that. Uh, Crazy. So more news articles. It made, I mean, CBS. I mean, yeah, of course, it made everything. Look at all this stuff. I haven't checked this news article. Let's see who this one is. And then all these years later, quietly, you have a parole hearing, and there's a co-defendant, a podcast of a co-defendant claiming that he's innocent, maybe the driver. But I think this is one of his co-defendants. Yeah. But Lady Holly says can't find him in the prison system. That's interesting. I wonder if he got out. And he also, remember, he said, "Oh, they shot back. Someone shot back, and that's why he shot." I doubt that too. Maybe he thought someone shot back, but I doubt that. They didn't find any guns on them, right? That's all, folks. And now we'll go to the fact of the day. Imagine seeing one of these while swimming, a wolf fish. Oh, God, that is scary. Animals are amazing. The idea that we can see some new fish that we never knew existed. It's just like, here's a wolffish. Wow, I've never seen that before. The wolffish resides in the cold waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic Ocean. It has a fearsome appearance characterized by a large head and strong protruding teeth. These teeth are not only intimidating but also functional, used to crush hard-shelled prey like mollusks and crustaceans. The wolffish has an antifreeze-like substance in its blood, allowing it to survive in freezing water, where few other fish can thrive. Its long, eel-like body, combined with a mottled dark appearance, helps it camouflage with its rocky underwater habitat. And it kind of looks like similar to maybe like an angelfish or something, right? But it's not. It doesn't have it's a wolffish. Thank God I'm not a fish. Imagine having to contend against these crazy creatures. So there you have it. I am curious to know how well he will do in 3 years. Will he take advantage of this opportunity? It's an uphill battle. I hope he does do well. And with that, I'll let you go.
I don't know. It's like, it's just senseless. It's just you just living this life just to live this life. You know how they say that some people say, or they be dying to live. And that street life is like you living it out. You're not even caring about nothing else. You're waking up every day with the intentions to be shot at and to be shooting at people, to be hanging on your block, to be drugged up. You're just living a reckless lifestyle.